China, Iran, Iraq. Like you fighting on the United States doorstep. Aircraft carriers are taking anyway.
Okay, but he said that they're fighting over the program. What? The,
Nuclear
the,
program.
about this because here's what they're doing. I don't know if you've noticed the strategy. In order to, quail the criticism from the administration, what they're doing is, saying, oh, these guys were great. The guys who did the mission were great, and they refueled in there, and they only made the stop that they had to, and they went and they hit these
Refueling there.
That's what they do.
don't another jet bring them the fuel
Big
alongside and then they connect like a
You seen on TV.
Yes,
yeah.
Big ass.
Catches up with them to fuel them up.
Rendezvous point, the angle that way, the thing comes out, they fuel up, they peel off and go back and blow up some shit. Bad motherfuckers.
Just like no community is a monolith, neither
Bad, I'm telling you, baby. That's why I should have been here.
The U.S. is
So
helping.
what I'm about to say,
No, they're not helping. They're against Iran. Okay.
Because the nuclear program, and then Iran and Israel got into it.
But he just said the Iran president,
Know the whole
Supreme,
name?
yeah, he said that they're not trying to harm anybody.
The Iranian president said that. Well, the United States ain't either. But they said,
He also said that we will not be harassed or intimidated.
and I try to hurt nobody harass me. As far as what's going on right now, you are in total agreement with it. You glad. This is one thing that you glad that they're on top of. That Trump, like I'm glad Trump on top of the board. I don't like some of his tactics, but fuck it, this shit is out of control. I'm glad that they're on top of this shit like this. And you wanna know why I'm glad?
Why are you glad?
You cannot let countries like that have nuclear capabilities. You know who gonna get fucked up all the way? Remember I said this.
Oh, China. Oh,
No, China ain't no China because they gonna talk and do dumb shit. They ain't even Kim Jong-un.
but I thought that he was. Oh, that's Japan. That's
No.
he is.
North Korea.
Oh yeah, no.
Kim Jong-un.
The big head little guy. Look, yeah.
And they had a rock against a hard, they're against a rock in a hard place because they don't want to go fuck them people. Going on in the world. The only news broadcast you go get is his stuff over there. It's not allowed. Anyway, he go get his motherfucking country blowed off the map. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Really?
Yeah, give it a little while. He go get. They're gonna end up fucking that man up. Now, and you don't want countries like that. See, Russia and China supports those countries. They're gonna only go to a certain level. They'll give them bombs to fight back at us and all that shit. They're not gonna put troops on the ground against us because then that makes them officially in the war, right? The reason you want this to go on, the reason this has to go on is because you can't let countries like that get nuclear capabilities. Now, there's other countries that got nuclear capabilities, right? Okay. Most of them are democratic countries, and the ones that's not democratic countries, right, like Russia and China. It's too much to lose. They're compatible. They're all right. They gross GDP is okay. People not starving and all that stuff, right? But these other people that's hooked to radical factions like Hamas and all of them, Hamas and ISIS and all of them, if they get nuclear capability, it's like a 75-80% chance that some kind of nuclear device will end up exploding in the United States. You feel me? That's why.
Killing how many?
The size of
Yeah.
the bomb, but that's why. Reading by mistake, and I understand. And even let's say for instance, Iran and Iraq have nuclear capabilities. And they're not volatile, meaning that you don't have to really worry about them trying to shoot a nuclear us, right? But their security systems are so antiquated, so old, that terrorist groups and Hamas and ISIS and all of them, they've been end up stealing some shit. They already got some uranium missing now. Now, the uranium that they got missing That's a start because you have to enrich the uranium, right?
Yeah. Okay, but where is this program
The
that
program is
they're
the nuclear program that
right,
is
and
set
they're
down.
trying to not allow them to have this to create.
Right. It started with Israel.
Right.
It started with Israel.
Okay.
Israel sent the shit in. They killed the scientists underground. They sent bunker busters in. The bunker busters because they got a facility way underground. This happened about a week ago, 10 days ago. And they sent them 3,000-ton bombs called bunker busters. That it goes through the ground, and then once it gets down there, it explodes. It blew up the nuclear facility.
Oh.
Killed 7 of their scientists.
Oh.
And that's where it started. Now Iran did something and tried to, like you just said today, they just told me that they did something in retaliation, which what they did is nowhere in comparison. But they did it, and they did it against the United States, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the reason that they did that is because Israel don't manufacture a bunker buster bomb. The bunker buster bombs come from us, the United States. So that's the retaliation. So now they went and hit a United States base. Okay. And now the United States is, but all they over there and invade. They're not finna send troops. They finna blow up. They finna blow up.
So the United States will retaliate a little bit.
Oh yeah, they finna blow up nuclear sites.
Oh.
I mean, they finna blow up military sites, airplanes, laboratories. Now you go get a lot of residual effect, but civilians getting killed. You go get some of that, and then they go blow up some shit like hospitals and schools and shit too, because what they do is they run and they hide all their shit under hospitals and schools.
Thinking that would be a place that
because they're gonna be reluctant, but a lot of times now they try not to do that. They send the spies in, and they sabotage shit and all that kind of stuff, right? To be able to save the people. That's what's gonna go on now.
And this stuff is just a never ending.
Never end.
Never. It's
other
never.
motherfucker
Everybody's
over there
for, it's the money, and like you said, it's the power,
You know what I mean?
It's just crazy.
You gotta watch these people. It's the hatred against the United States. The worst terrorist act that they were ever able to manufacture in the United States was the World Trade Center. And that will never happen again like that. The World Trade Center.
Why you say it won't never happen? It's possible.
Well, yeah, anything is possible. But from that learning curve right there to where it is now, it's extreme. It was already hard. Now it's almost unfathomable.
Well, yeah, you can see with the way that they're implementing more stuff to even fly. You need more credentials of everything to freaking fly now. Stuff to even.
That's a small part of it.
Yeah.
That's a small part. It's just if one of these motherfucking planes don't respond right, they ain't gonna let it fly that long.
You mean by transmitting through radio and the way they talk and stuff like that?
If they supposed to call in every 25 minutes or something like that, unless they get emergency acknowledgement. If they go off or they don't respond, they're not going to be able to fly from California to Washington, D.C. They're not going to be able to fly from Philadelphia to Illinois. You're not going to make it that far. They're going to put some jets up there, and the jets go. Now something might be wrong with the shit. The gauges or something. They give everything the benefit of the doubt. The jet's going to do the signal. There's a universal code.
See how they're responding to
Stand
that.
down. They got all kind of. They go shoot the flares. They go shoot some real shots across the bow. At first, when they know.
Well, that's pretty scary. You got people aboard on these flights and stuff, but
they know what they're doing. I say they ain't just finna go up there and blow nobody because it could be a malfunction. The damn pilot could have died, and you got somebody that's trying to figure out how to work the shit.
yeah, but if it is a terrorist or whatever, they would just blow it up right there.
Well, okay. Instead of you blowing up a whole bunch
Oh,
of
I guess.
Instead of getting the 200 people that's on board, you got 12,000,
Yeah.
10,000.
Yeah.
And then they're not just going to blow it up right there. They're going to strategically blow it up. They go, okay, got to realize. So they're going to pick a spot to blow it up because they don't want residual fallout from the shit falling out the sky. So they're over the water. They're going to hit it over the field. You understand? They're going to hit it over the rural area that's not as populated. But that motherfucker come down.
Yeah.
Like that flight where they brought down in Virginia that was headed towards the, what was it going towards the Pentagon? the people on the plane brought it down, it ain't gonna fly that long.
Okay.
That shit here,
But this stuff is scary, though. I don't care what you. This is really, really scary.
If something don't, if something, if they can't get this shit together, and this shit keep going on 10, 20, 30 more years, it's eventually gonna reach the United States soil, and it's gonna be devastating. It probably only be one thing, like they were able to get the planes through to the World Trade Center. They might only get one nuclear bomb into New York, but you know, you 100 and
It wouldn't be no whole boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
390,000 people,
Yeah.
100, 200,000 people dead,
Yeah.
right? But it ain't finna be like they fighting a war over here in the unit. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. And wherever that
Seems
bomb
like
come
it,
from,
though. I mean, because United States create enemies also, right? Who is the United States #1 enemy out there?
Hamas,
Come on.
Israel, Iran, China. The greatest threat is China and Russia. But China and Russia got some sense.
Yeah.
They you see, they back in the militant group, so they be choosing them to do their dirty work, and the United States know it. You know what I mean? Hamas and all them, they play like, and they do a little. Some of it they because they know they don't want it to get too far out of hand because it can reach their soil.
Kind of how you make it seem.
Don't try United States not because the United States like an outrageous, overbearing bully. Trade practices, or you don't the influence in the world, or you don't like this or you don't like that. So the United States is the mockery, and you guys are socialist countries. Don't try us because of that. Don't try to touch us. Yes, yeah, they know. If Russia and China is the biggest threat, you got Russia and China, and then they're gonna have a whole bunch of little motherfucking countries with them like North Korea, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. They're gonna be allies to those. They gonna ride with that. But there's no way in comparison to the United States, England, France. You know what I mean? South Africa. The alliances is, that the United States has is so great.
Yeah.
Greenland, Great Britain.
United States cannot survive with services and goods, right, without others. Then why do they help? Well, then what?
Bad. Now, a lot of things would, after a while, because they have stockpiles of it, a lot of things would slowly fade out, and a lot of stuff would get more expensive. They couldn't get as much of the stuff to make sure the
Over here.
telephones and the computers in
Yeah,
your cars,
yeah.
special TVs and stuff. What they call it, precious metals or stuff like that. They come from other countries, but they have their own deposits and they have other places that they contract with for stuff like that. Yeah, they could survive. It just would be toned down a lot after a while. If it goes on for a long while, 2, 3, 4 years from now, the price is going to be sky high for about your telephone and all that other kind of shit. The satellite.
If we service our own goods here, because we have to afford to keep it in
They still
rotation.
get it, and then they're gonna hold. And if it get like that, because they already have a stockpile of it, but they're only gonna they're gonna still be able to get, but they're only gonna allow so much for domestic use. All the rest stockpile for military usage. They need jets and planes and boats. They got enough. If they do it right now, the United States will be planes, guns, the computer systems to run them, and all that shit for 25 years. You see what I'm saying? They got that much. If don't nobody in the world sell us no more gas right now, if we can't pump no more gas out the sea or get off our own ground, they got enough gas right now to last them 50 years. Now they gonna ration it out later on. It's gonna get more real expensive.
Right.
But it ain't gonna stop none of that military shit from being able to roll. I give them kudos for that.
And that's in no, well, you know how we would ride and you like, oh, it's something built off up in there. There's places like that in the mountains and shit where they storing shit at. Where you can't have acid, you can't go back there at all. And they'll never build, like a community or, you know what I mean? Yeah.
The oil refineries.
Yeah.
The oil, it's right here. All oil refineries are required, and they pay for it. They subsidize it. They have a separate installation. They make all the gas stations, they refine all of it.
Human rights violations are happening right in America.
They keep a constant supply.
Money to drop 13, 14.
How
Um,
It's some things shouldn't have been did with. It's some things that you know you got some leaders that don't do right. As a whole, you can't give them a thumbs up, even though I don't like that crooked cracking motherfuckers. But you got to give them a thumbs up.
yeah.